Hello everyone. Hello Astha.
Hi guys. Hi Neha.
Actually, I guess like there is some limit in Meet, so we have just shared the YouTube link. So it will take 2-3 minutes to circulate it everywhere. So
Yes.
till then, let's just get to know each other better.
Uh,
So yeah,
Rudraj Sen, do you have a
hello,
question?
hello. Yeah, hello everyone. So yeah, where are you guys from? You can just drop that in the chat box.
I am from Gujarat. No, sorry.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, we have
uh,
people from Bihar, Patna, South Delhi. Nice. Firozabad,
Vizag, West Bengal, Indore,
Gujarat,
Gujarat.
Vadodara.
Yeah, Gujarat.
Yeah, see, people are from Gujarat.
um, Rudra has raised his hands. Do you have any doubt? You can just, or it was okay, maybe.
Oh, oh, people
Yeah.
are from MP
So,
too. Yeah, so
okay.
we have
So,
diverse public
yeah.
from everywhere across India.
Yeah, exactly. So, since this is Android Study Jam session, so which is the app that you guys use most often? Let's see. What about you,
Instagram,
Astha?
WhatsApp, Instagram. I use Instagram the most.
Insta.
Okay, there are lots of people that are using WhatsApp and Instagram, Google Classroom,
Yeah, Google Meet,
Google Meet,
LinkedIn,
LinkedIn,
nice.
LinkedIn. Nice.
So for the foodies, what app do you use for ordering your food?
I use
Zomato.
Zomato. Yeah, there
Yeah,
are lots of
maximum of
people
them
use.
use Zomato.
Yeah. Is there anyone who use Swiggy? Zomato, of course. Me,
Swiggy, oh,
Mudit is
Hardik uses
saying
Swiggy.
none. Kunal is
Part
saying
goes to
no.
the shop.
Okay, so I think we can just start the session.
Yeah, sure, let's begin. So, hi guys, hi everyone. I am Astha and I have Neha with me. And we are here for the first Android Study Jam session, the induction session. And we hope you all enjoy this evening and get a lot of knowledge throughout the session. For you, we have a few ground rules that we request you to follow. So, Neha, over to you.
Yeah. Uh, can we have the next slide, please? The ground rules. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, be present during the session, be curious, share aloud. If you have any doubts, then just feel free to drop them in the chat box. We'll surely take them and try to engage yourself as much as you can. Avoid posting any inappropriate content in the chat box. And since the meeting is recording, so just try to maintain the decorum throughout the session. Yes, Mudit, we are recording this video, so we'll share this with you. Okay, so without any further delay, we can just see today's agenda.
Yeah, so as we are here for Android study gens, firstly we'll be discussing about what are Android study gens. Then we'll be covering two units that we need to complete throughout the campaign, the two in the modules. So in the first unit, we'll be covering the basics of Kotlin and creating an Android app with some basic layouts and basic features. We'll also be giving you a break of 5 minutes in between. And after that, we'll be discussing layouts, that is unit 2. We'll be ending the session with question answers, and you do wait throughout the session till the end so we can share some important resources with you and also the details about the next session. So you can please stay till the end of the session.
Yeah,
So
I'm
without any
really excited.
yeah,
Yeah, we can just call Pranav for the
Pranav, yeah.
introduction of
So
Android study jams.
Over to
Yeah.
you, Pranav.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you, Asta. So yeah, I want to know first of all, how many of you are already familiar with what is Android Study Jams? Please drop in chat. Okay, Neha is familiar. Will you share? Okay, yeah. So I don't think so. A lot of you are not familiar with what is Android Study Jams. So don't worry. I'll give you what a brief idea what is Android Study Jams, and by end of the session you will be familiar about what is Android Study Jam. So basically Android Study Jams is a community organized study group. So basically we will let you learn about the native Android development using Kotlin. So we'll have around 2 to 3 sessions. So you will be joining the session. We'll have a specific module consisting of 16 modules. So you will go through all the modules and you will be able to learn about the basics of Android development using Kotlin. So let's walk through the whole module that what you can do one by one each module. Um, Next slide, please. Yeah. So the first module is about introduction to Kotlin. So I hope many of you are already familiar a little bit about any of the coding background. Let's say C++, C, JavaScript, Java, anything. So basically, Kotlin is a language
I think Pranav has some network issue. Sorry for this.
I guess
We
so.
can
I
wait
think
for a
I thought
minute.
my screen froze. Yeah, he'll be back in just few minutes. Yeah, so we have our
Lot
audience
of
are
people,
familiar with lots of programming languages. I can see in
yeah,
the
most
chat
of them
box.
know are familiar with C and C++.
Yeah. Okay, so meanwhile Pranav comes, a question for you guys. What do you have? Like, have you ever thought like I'll make this app once I learn like any particular Android language? Like, do you have any idea about any app that you want to make? What is it? Like, if you want to share with us.
Good evening, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, you are audible, Pallavi.
Yes, ma'am. So, first of all, hi everyone. I'm Pallavi. So, I thought of making an app which is of women's security. So, because it is a quite crucial topic in our society too. So, because awareness is good. We have to spread the awareness and everything which should be there right in society. But for the sake of emergency and everything, we were thinking about how we can develop the existing app which are there for the women's security, because it's quite crucial topic which is demand of the even it's it's a shame of
Yeah,
us, but it is the reality. So we have to face those situations. So in order to prevent all those things, that women can also participate freely and everything. So ensure that I just thought we should implement app so that we can provide extra security to women as well.
yeah, Pallavi, that's really a very great idea. You can just start working on that once you learn the basics of Android. So we also have few suggestions in the chat box. I guess Pranav is here. Hi, Pranav. You can
Yeah.
continue, I guess.
Sorry for that, guys. My network got screwed. So yeah. So we were on how you can add a button in your Android app in the fourth module. So we'll be learning about how you will be able to add a button in your Android app. So in the fifth module, next slide, please. Yeah, in the fifth module, we'll be learning how you can take the user's input. So you have seen in many of the website and web, there are a lot of fields where you have to have the user's input, maybe the name, any form, anything. So you'll be learn how you can do that. And in the sixth module, we'll be learning how you can create a scrollable list. So I'm hoping all of you are familiar with Instagram Reels or previously TikTok, right? So in that, you scroll up and check out all the reels. So how you can do that functionality and how you can add that functionality in an Android app, you'll be able to learning about that thing in the sixth module. In the seventh module, you will be learning how you can navigate between the screens. So you have must have seen in your Android app that you are using maybe anything, Facebook, Instagram. So you will be able to navigate from one page to another page. So you will be able to learning about that particular thing in the seventh module. And in the eighth module, we'll be learning more about the navigation thing, how you can create a navigation component and all the other stuff. Don't worry, it's just a little bit brief about all the modules. We will go in detail in each module, so you will be good with everything, all the concepts. Next slide, please. Yeah, in the ninth module, we'll be learning about the architectural components. So every project, every Android app, be it Android, be it web, anything. So every project has some architecture. So same with the Kotlin. So you'll be able to learning about the architecture thing, architectural components in basic Android development. In the 10th module, we'll be learning about advanced navigation example, how you can do advanced navigation. And in the 11th, so most of you are not familiar, I don't think so you'll be familiar with the coroutines thing. It's a new thing. So basically, if any one of you is familiar in JavaScript about asynchronous programming, let's say async await or anything in Python also, so that particular thing, all the asynchronous thing is done handled using coroutines. So you will be learning about what is coroutines, how you can implement that in Kotlin and in your Android app. In the 12th module, we'll be learning about how you can get the data from the internet. So let's say we have an API or anything, how you can fetch the data from the backend server to the front end of your Android app. So you'll be learning about that in the 12th module. And in the 13th module, next slide, please. Yeah, in the 13th module, we'll be learning about the SQL thing, how you can store the data in your SQL server using a library called Room. And in the 14th module, we'll be continuing with that, exploring more about the Room library, how you can contact with your database, doing read and write operation and all those things. And in the 15th, you will be learning about schedule tasks with Work Manager. So you must have seen most of the Android apps are also working in the background. Let's say you are not opening that particular app, but still it's working in the background. For example, music apps. You are not opening the music app, it's running in the background and still you are doing other things. So you will be able to know how that particular thing is done using all these modules. So next slide, please. Yeah, so there are some prerequisites. So you must have a computer of around 8 GB RAM minimum. So if you want to run the Android Studio smoothly, then 8 GB RAM is required for minimum. But don't worry, if some of you don't have the 8 GB RAM, some of you are having 2 GB or 4 GB, that's also okay. You can still like run the Android Studio thing. You just need your mobile device and an Android device and a USB cable. You can connect the mobile device with USB cable to the Android Studio, and then you can also continue with that as well. You must have a good internet connection and an Android device. That are the basic prerequisites for going through this course. Next slide, please. Okay, so first of all, I want to ask why all of you are here. What guys you are accepting by learning this course after checking out the whole module, what you will be learning. So please tell me in the chat. Okay, maybe my chat is okay. I love development. That's why. Okay. Nishit sir, I had a dream of making my own app. So, yep, all of you guys will be learning about the Android development, how you can start with that. So, I wish that you'll, by end of this course, by end of this whole session, you will be able to create your whole first app. So, next slide, please. Viraj says, I want to learn something new in Aryan Mishra. It will help me get an idea of app development and I can do better on open source. Okay, nice, Aryan. Open source contribution is a good thing. Shishi, next slide, please. Okay, so I guess most of you already tell what are your goals. Someone one wants to contribute in open source, someone wants to create their own startup. So there are a lot of people, diversity of things. So okay, next slide, please. Okay, so what will be the learning objective for from this whole course? So the first thing it would be you will be learning about the basic of Kotlin programming. You'll be learning about what is Kotlin, how you can use that in native Android development. Then you will be building your first Android app using Android Studio and Kotlin, and we will be walking you through how to set up the Android Studio on your computer, so you can do that seamlessly. And then will be sharing some resources with you, so you can continue learning. And there is a course with all the 16 modules that I just briefed. So if you go through each and every module, you will be able to learn about the basics of Android development. So yeah, you can earn badges while doing these courses. So that's also a good thing. You can showcase the badges on your LinkedIn, maybe any of your socials. So that's also a good thing that you will get from this course. Next slide, please. So yeah, so I'll tell you what is the flow of completing all the courses. So we will provide you the course link. So you can go to that course. That course is totally free. There is no charge for that course. You can go to that course. You will see the interface as Android Basics in Kotlin. In that, there are many units. So for example, let's say the unit one. Next slide, please. Yeah, for example, you can see this particular interface when you open the website. So you will have many units. So in the unit one, we will have a four topic, let's say Android basics, and what is introduction to Kotlin programming, how you can create your first app, and all this thing that we will be discussing as well. So you have to complete all this course. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this will be the pathway for the first module. So let's say first you will be talking about welcome to Android basics in Kotlin, build your first app in Kotlin that I just talked about. So you will go through all of this code. There are some video lectures, there are some code labs. So you can watch the video lectures, you can go with the code labs and try it out yourself. So you will be able to learn in the process as well. Next slide, please. Yeah, at the end of every module you will have a quiz. So you have to maybe we will assess you what you have learned with that. So it will be good for you as well and good for the course as well, that you'll be able to learn and give a proper part to your learning journey by doing this course. Next slide, please. Okay, so first of all, when you are doing this course, you need to create a developer profile in Google. So for that, we will drop the link in the chat. So you can go there, create a developer profile, and just by creating the developer file, you can just directly go to the course and start doing the course already. So that's the only thing, and maybe we can drop the link to create the developer file in the chat as well. Next slide, please. So yeah, so now I'll hand over to Akash Gupta. So he'll walk you through the basics of introduction to Kotlin programming. So you'll be able to learn about Kotlin. So over to you, Akash.
Thanks, Pranav. Am I audible to all of you? First of all, can you please clarify?
Yes, Akash, you are.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, first of all, hi everyone, and I'm gonna cover some basics in Kotlin, after which you will have some idea about the syntax of Kotlin as well as some basic concepts of the language. So first of all, a quick question from my side. I hope all of you must be in second or first year of your college. So are you familiar with any any language? Do you have any prior experience of any particular language like C, C++, Java, or Python, JavaScript? Please mention in chat if you are. Yeah, I can see C, Python. Okay, C, Python again, Python, C, C++, Java. So yeah, so basically most of you have idea of a particular program, at least one programming language. It will be easier for me. However, I will try to keep it as simple as possible and try to explain most of the concepts. So starting off, talking about the language Kotlin. Kotlin was actually introduced by JetBrains. It is a very popular organization. They make really good IDs. So JetBrains first released Kotlin. The initial release was in 2011, and then the first stable release was released in 2016. And in 2017, Google recognized Kotlin as the official programming language for coding in Android, for app development in Android. Okay, so yes, since then it is being promoted and it is quite preferred among developers as well, Android developers as well, for development. And that's why we are having this program, and we are basically teaching Android development in Kotlin and promoting it. Okay, so talking about the language, Kotlin is basically a statically typed programming language. Okay, so if you are familiar with a particular programming language, statically typed and dynamically typed, the difference is that in a statically typed programming language, the type of the variable should be known during the compilation. And in dynamically typed programming language like Python or JavaScript, the type of the variable need not be declared during in the code, and it is automatically interpreted during the runtime. Okay, so Kotlin is a statically typed language like your C, C++, or Java. Like you declare int A, int B. Okay, you need to. It is known at the compile time, the data type, but this does not mean that you will always have to specify the type of the variable. So it comes I mean, in between these two things. Okay, so I will explain you via code. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Is my screen visible to you? Can anyone please confirm?
Yes, yes, it is visible.
Yeah. So another point, while you're learning Kotlin, one of the best resource that you can find is this kotlinlang.org website. It is the official documentation of Kotlin. Any doubts you have, anything you want to learn, it has all the documentation. You can get started and find everything over here. And it also offers an online ID, which you can use and execute some simple code. If you want to delve deeper and you want to build stuff, okay, then I will recommend an ID, because here the lint errors don't show up. Okay, so don't use it for development purposes. For that you can use an ID. For Kotlin specifically, IntelliJ IDEA is one of the best IDs. It is also developed by JetBrains, so I will recommend you use that. Okay, for some basic demonstration purposes, I will show you it in this online ID itself. Okay, so as I was talking, Kotlin is a statically typed programming language. That is, that type is known at the compile time, the type of the variable. But this does not mean that the type has to be specified each and every time. Like for example, first of all, just let me print this hello world. Okay, the basic formalities. Yeah, and now let's say I define a variable where a is equal to 10, and I simply print a. Okay, so I do not get any compilation error, okay, or any particular exception. But I said that Kotlin is a statically typed programming language, which means that the type was known at compile time. Now, but I haven't specified the type. So Kotlin basically works on type inferences. The type of the variable here is inferred from the value that I have assigned to this variable. Since I have assigned 10, the type inferred is integer. Now, if I write, say, any random string ABC, the type inferred would be string. And I can also explicitly specify the type. I can do this string ABC, and I can do this. Simply, I can write int, and if I initialize 10, I can do this as well. Okay, so type will be inferred from the value of the variable, but this does not mean that and therefore you don't have to explicitly specify the type each and every time. Now you may have a doubt, can I do this? If I simply declare a variable var a, and then I write a is equal to 10, and then I say println a, will this work? So let's run it. See, so now we get an error. It says that the variable must either have a type annotation or be initialized. So in this case, what is happening is the type of the variable, the compiler is not able to infer the type of the variable from its value. And in this case, the error will be resolved if I explicitly specify the type in this case. Like I have specified var a int, and then a is equal to 10 has been initialized, then there will be no error. Okay, so keep this thing in mind while coding in Kotlin, that what I will prefer is always initialize the variable when you declare it. Okay, and if maybe you want to change the value of the variable at some later point of time for some user input purposes, just initialize it with a random value, with a default value, and then you can modify the value at some later point of time. Okay, because in this case you won't encounter errors, because in this case also, where I have specified the data type of the variable and initialize it later and print, this worked in this case. In what case will it not work? Declaration is top level. So if I declare this variable over here, and now I run the program, even if I have specified the type explicitly, then also it will not work. It says the property must be initialized. मतलब हमने जहाँ पे declare किया है, वहाँ पे हमें initialize करना इस case में जरूरी हो जाता है. तो सिंपल सी बात ये है, ठीक है, to keep it simplistic, that we must initialize the variable when we declare. Okay, in most of the cases, especially in the top level declaration, we can avoid it if we are initializing the variable later in the same function block. Okay, and therefore I will always recommend that you initialize it when you declare it. Which also brings us to the next segue. There is another thing that is quite interesting and you can do in this particular case. Whenever you are using top level declaration and you don't want to initialize the variable there and then, you want to initialize it at some later point of the program. There's a keyword that Kotlin offers called latenit. I use latenit over here and then I run this program. Latenit, oh, it is not, oh, another thing. Latenit is not allowed on primitive types. That's why I'm saying that I will recommend that you initialize the variable when you are declaring it with some default value. But if I use string over here and say I use ABC, this will work absolutely fine. In case if I would not have used latenit, it would have caused an error. Okay, so this thing. So this is clear, the type inference thing and the statically typed programming language thing. Might be confusing in the beginning, but eventually you will grasp the concept. No, any doubt? You can't tell. What's the doubt? Okay, trying to understand. Yeah, it can be a bit complicated in the beginning. As I said, you can refer the online resource as well. Please repeat once, Kush, which particular part are you not clear about? Whole. For that, I will suggest you that the meet is being recorded and you can rewatch it because due to time constraints, I cannot repeat the whole thing. Okay. I will just sum it up for you. In Kotlin, the programming language is statically typed, which means that the data type of the variable should be known at the compile time itself. But it does not imply that you always have to specify it while declaring a variable. Okay, the type will be inferred from the value of the variable. Like if I write var a is equal to abc over here, I didn't have to specify the type of the variable string. I execute it, it will work fine. But if I am saying, if I am trying to do something like this, कि I declare the variable जैसे जावा में करते हैं कॉट से या अपना C++ में करते हैं कि मैंने एक वेरिएबल को डिक्लेयर कर दिया और बाद में इनिशियलाइज किया, ये चीज वर्क नहीं करेगी. ऐसे केस में हमें टाइप स्पेसिफाई करना ही पड़ेगा, जैसे कि मैंने यहाँ पे कर दिया. ठीक है, और ये चीज भी जैसे मैंने टाइप स्पेसिफाई कर दिया तो ये चल रहा है, ये चीज भी हर बार वर्क नहीं करेगी. अगर ये चीज उठाकर मैंने फंक्शन के बाहर डाल दी, टॉप लेवल डिक्लेरेशन कर दिया, तो ये भी काम नहीं करेगी. ठीक है, इसे भी काम करवाना है तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं, हम लेटनेट मॉडिफायर यूज कर सकते हैं. अब ये भी चलेगा. ठीक है, लेटनेट भी क्या है कि ये सिर्फ हमारे पास ये स्ट्रिंग हो गया या फिर तुम्हारी कोई यूजर डिफाइंड क्लास है या फिर जो इनबिल्ट क्लास है उस पर वर्क करेगा. प्रिमिटिव टाइप्स हो गए जैसे तुम्हारा इंट है, बुलियन है, ठीक है, और कैरेक्टर है, इन सब पे वर्क नहीं करेगा. तो मतलब जो इसका सम अप है वो ये है, मैं रिकमेंड ये करूंगा जब भी वेरिएबल को डिक्लेयर कर रहे हो कॉटलिन में, उसे किसी रैंडम वैल्यू से इनिशियलाइज कर दो. ठीक है, ताकि बाद में जब तुम्हें मॉडिफाई करना है, मॉडिफाई कर दो तो प्रॉब्लम होगी नहीं ऐसी. ठीक है, अब क्लियर हो गया थोड़ा सा, मैंने फिर से पूरा रिपीट कर दिया.
Akash, there are some doubts in the YouTube stream chat.
Okay.
So like they're asking if
Can we declare the variable?
like they can use
Can we declare some variable more than once? वेरिएबल को एक के बाद क्यों डिक्लेयर करोगे, मतलब नाम मॉडिफाई कर सकते हो, वरना वो एक ही को प्रेफर करेगा, फिर वो कंपाइलर एरर दिखाएगा कि वो वेरिएबल डिक्लेयर हो चुका है ऑलरेडी, एक बार नेम चेंज करना पड़ेगा उसका.
there was one like one was asking can we use VS Code to code the Kotlin?
या आई गेस VS कोड यूज कर सकते हो, प्लगइन्स वगैरह यूज करने पड़ेंगे, बट इंटेलिज आइडिया काफी अच्छा मतलब आइडिया है कॉटलिन के लिए, प्रेफरेबल वही है मेरे हिसाब से. तो ओके, आई विल रिज्यूम. ठीक है, तो एक तो ये थोड़ा हो गया टाइप इन्फ्रेंस वाली चीज, थोड़ा मतलब ठीक है कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो गया, थोड़ा सिंपल चीज बताते हैं। क्लासेस वगैरह के बारे में पढ़ा है किसी ने? ऊप्स वगैरह होते हैं, ठीक है, क्लास होती है।
Sure.
Okay. So whenever you declare class in any programming language like C, C++, Java, which are OOPS based, okay, you have to define all these functions. Like you have to define getters, you have to define setters. There are some other functions like copy function, toString function, okay, hash code function, equals function. Constructors you have to explicitly define. Kotlin जो लैंग्वेज है उसका मेन फोकस किस चीज पे है, वो है कि हमारा जो कोड है वो कंसाइज होना चाहिए। हमारे पास जितनी मिनिमम लाइंस ऑफ कोड यूज करनी है उतनी मिनिमम लाइंस ऑफ कोड यूज करेंगे और अपना काम चलाएंगे। तो कॉटन में क्लास डिक्लेरेशन के लिए हमारे पास काफी मस्त चीज होती है। वी कैन हैव दिस डेटा क्लास, ओके, डेटा कीवर्ड यूज कर सकते हैं, नहीं भी करोगे तो वो भी चल जाएगा, डेटा थोड़ा डिफरेंट चीज़ मैं बाद में बताऊंगा। एंड व्हाट आई डू, आई डिक्लेयर वैर ए स्ट्रिंग, वैर बी इंटीजर से, वैर सी अगेन इंट। So this is the entire class definition। इसमें हमारा इसी से बाय डिफॉल्ट हमारे लिए कॉटलिन का कंपाइलर क्या करेगा, गेटर्स जनरेट कर देगा, सेटर्स जनरेट कर देगा। ये जो मैंने ये लिखा है ये एज अ प्राइमरी कंस्ट्रक्टर, ये एक कंस्ट्रक्टर की तरह काम करता है, ठीक है। तो अगर मैं यही चीज कंस्ट्रक्टर की तरह काम करेगी, जो वैल्यूज हमारे पास वेरिएबल के ऑब्जेक्टिवेशन के टाइम पे पास होंगी वो इसी में असाइन भी हो जाएंगी, ठीक है। तो गेटर, सेटर और अपना क्या कहते हैं कंस्ट्रक्टर, कॉपी फंक्शन, हैश फंक्शन, ये सब हमारे लिए इतनी असल कोड लिखने से कॉटन अपने आप जनरेट कर देता है। तो हमारा जो पोजो कहते हैं प्लेन ओल्ड जावा ऑब्जेक्ट, जावा में ऐसे क्लास के डिक्लेरेशन को, तो वो हमारे लिए काफी सिंप्लीफाई हो जाता है, हमें ज्यादा कोड नहीं लिखना पड़ता। ठीक है, ये तो सिंपल था, इसमें तो किसी को डाउट नहीं है। cool. ठीक है, तो ये हमारे पास इसमें क्लास डिक्लेरेशन होती है। ठीक है, तो एक तो हमारे पास कॉटलिन का जो बना था मेजर पॉइंट्स है, वो हमारे पास क्या होता है कि कॉटलिन से हमारे पास कोड काफी छोटा हो जाता है। कॉटलिन हमारे लिए कंसाइज बना देता है हमारी लैंग्वेज को। ठीक है, एक और जो काफी इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक है वो ये है कि कॉटलिन में हमारे पास जो किसी को मतलब नल पॉइंटर एक्सेप्शन का नाम सुना है सबने कि नल पॉइंटर एक्सेप्शन क्या होती है? बस चैट में लिख दो नल पॉइंटर एक्सेप्शन, यू आर फेमिलियर विद इट? ओके, नो। सो व्हाट इज नल पॉइंटर? नो, यस, नो। अच्छा ठीक है, मैं बता देता हूँ। नल पॉइंटर एक्सेप्शन क्या होती है कि जैसे मैंने एक वेरिएबल लिखा, स्ट्रिंग वेरिएबल ही बनाते हैं, ठीक है, एस बनाई स्ट्रिंग, मैं भी बस कोड लिख रहा हूँ, मैं एक्सप्लेन करूंगा अच्छे से भी, ठीक है, कुछ चीज़ों को थोड़ा भी इग्नोर करना। मैंने वैर एस स्ट्रिंग लिखी, ठीक है, और फिर मैंने प्रिंट करा एस डॉट लेट, ठीक है। तो इस केस में क्या हुआ है, मेरे पास लिखा है वेरिएबल एस मस्ट बी इनिशियलाइज्ड, ठीक है। नल पॉइंटर एक्सेप्शन क्या होता है कि हमने किसी पर्टिकुलर वेरिएबल को डिफाइन नहीं किया है, तो उसकी बाय डिफॉल्ट वैल्यू नल रह गई, ठीक है। ये अभी कॉटन के परस्पेक्टिव से मत समझना, सी, सी प्लस प्लस, जावा लैंग्वेजेस में क्या होता है कि अगर मैं किसी वेरिएबल को डिफाइन नहीं करता, ठीक है, इनिशियलाइज नहीं करता, तो बाय डिफॉल्ट उसकी वैल्यू क्या हो जाती है, नल। और उस पर मैं किसी प्रॉपर्टी को एक्सेस करने की कोशिश करता हूँ, जैसे मैं इसमें स्ट्रिंग की लेंथ पता करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, तो क्या आ रहा है कि वेरिएबल एस मस्ट बी इनिशियलाइज्ड। ये नल पॉइंटर एक्सेप्शन है बेसिकली, वो कह रहा है कि वेरिएबल एस इनिशियलाइज नहीं था, तो इस वजह से हम उसकी लेंथ को एक्सेस नहीं कर सकते, ठीक है। और ये काफी बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है, काफी मेजर प्रॉब्लम है, जो बहुत केसेस में आती है। जब तुम एंड्रॉइड में डेवलपमेंट भी करोगे ना, जैसे जावा में ही करो, कॉटल में नहीं करोगे, तो कई बार होता है कि ऐसी नल पॉइंटर एक्सेप्शन की वजह से हमारे पास ऐप जो है वो डायरेक्टली क्रैश कर जाएगी। तो यूजर के लिए तो बहुत खराब एक्सपीरियंस है कि तुमने कहीं पे भी कुछ गलती कर दी, इससे नल पॉइंटर एक्सेप्शन आ गई और तुम्हारी ऐप ही क्रैश हो रही है सिचुएशन में, ठीक है। तो कॉटलिन की एडवांटेज क्या है कि यूजिंग कॉटलिन हम नल पॉइंटर एक्सेप्शन को काफी इजीली अवॉइड कर सकते हैं। क्यों? क्योंकि कॉटलिन में बाय डिफॉल्ट जितने भी वेरिएबल्स होते हैं ना, वो नल टाइप के होते ही नहीं, वो नलेबल ही नहीं होते, उनकी वैल्यू नल ही नहीं हो सकती, ठीक है। अगर कॉटलिन में नलेबल वेरिएबल यूज करने हैं तो हमें इस टाइप के बाद वेरिएबल के एक क्वेश्चन मार्क लगाना पड़ता है, जैसे कि मैंने यहाँ पे लगा रखा है। अगर मैं सिर्फ स्ट्रिंग लिखूंगा तो ये नलेबल वेरिएबल नहीं है, अगर मैं स्ट्रिंग क्वेश्चन मार्क लिखूंगा तो ये नल टाइप का वेरिएबल है, ठीक है। अब एक और चीज क्या है कि अगर मैं, तो पहली बात तो डिफॉल्ट वेरिएबल्स बाय डिफॉल्ट नल होंगे ही नहीं, तो हमारे पास नल पॉइंटर एक्सेप्शन की ज्यादातर केसेस में दिक्कत आएगी ही नहीं। इसलिए मैंने वो भी कहा था कि कॉटलिन हमें फोर्स करता है एक चीज कि जब तुम वेरिएबल को डिफाइन डिक्लेयर कर रहे हो तभी तुम उसे इनिशियलाइज भी कर दो, ताकि ये नल वाले पंगे में पड़ेंगे ही नहीं, ऑल्दो वो सारे वेरिएबल्स बाय डिफॉल्ट नॉट नल ही होते हैं। ठीक है, तो अगर कॉटलिन में हमें वेरिएबल्स को नल डिक्लेयर करना है तो हमें ये क्वेश्चन मार्क लगाना पड़ेगा टाइप के बाद। ठीक है, अब इसमें एक और स्टेटमेंट लिखी है, ओनली सेफ और नॉट नल एजर्टेड कॉल्स आर अलाउड। ठीक है, तो इसका मतलब क्या है कि अगर मैं यहाँ पर क्वेश्चन मार्क डाल के फिर लेंथ को एक्सेस करता हूँ, ये वेरिएबल का टाइप नलेबल है, वेरिएबल नल हो सकता है, इसलिए मुझे एक्सेप्शन भी मिली थी। अब मैं एक्सेस करते टाइम यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन मार्क डालूंगा और फिर रन करूंगा। ठीक है, तो इस केस में मतलब वैसे इस केस में ये nptr नहीं है। ठीक है, इस केस में हमारे पास एक्सेप्शन नहीं आएगी। ये बेसिकली क्या होता है, हमें डील करने का तरीका होता है। ऐसे केस में अगर मैं एक्सेस करूंगा तो अगर तुम वैसे प्रिंट करोगे नल ही आता है। ठीक है, तो ये हमारे पास है, या तो हम ऐसे लिख सकते हैं या फिर हम ये लिख सकते हैं, नॉट नल असर्टेड। इनमें डिफरेंस क्या है कि इसका मतलब है कि हमारे पास अगर वो नल नहीं होगा तब ये कोड एग्जीक्यूट होगा, वरना नल प्रिंट हो जाएगा हमारे पास उसमें कहते कंसोल में। और इसका मतलब ये है कि हमारे पास तो हमने खुद डिसाइड कर लिया, हमने कह दिया कि हमने इसकी वैल्यू को कहीं पे इनिशियलाइज कर ही रखा होगा। हम खुद कह रहे हैं, हम कंपाइलर को चुप करा रहे हैं बोल के कि हमने इसे इनिशियलाइज कर दिया है, उसकी टेंशन तुम मत लो। ठीक है, तो ये थोड़ा नलेबिलिटी वाली चीज थी कॉटलिन के अंदर कि बाय डिफॉल्ट वेरिएबल्स नल नहीं होते, हमें अलग सिंटैक्स यूज करना पड़ेगा, ऐसे क्वेश्चन मार्क लगाना पड़ेगा, तभी हम उन्हें नल डिक्लेयर कर सकते हैं। और फिर नल डिक्लेयर करोगे तो अकॉर्डिंगली हमें खुद ही हैंडल करना पड़ेगा, ऐसे या फिर ऐसे। ठीक है, कि हमने कहा कि हमने देख लिया है वो नल नहीं है, हमने इनिशियलाइज कर दिया था, या फिर वो हमने कहा कि अगर नल नहीं है तभी ये चीज एग्जीक्यूट करियो वरना मत करियो। ठीक है, इस एवरी वेरिएबल इन कॉटलिन अ पॉइंटर नहीं, एवरी वेरिएबल कॉटलिन का जो बेसिकली इंटरनल वर्किंग है वो पूरी जावा की तरह होती है, तो वेरिएबल बाय डिफॉल्ट पॉइंटर नहीं होते। जावा में भी बाय डिफॉल्ट सारे वेरिएबल्स पॉइंटर नहीं होते, अगर तुम क्लास की ऑब्जेक्ट डिक्लेयर करोगे तो वो रेफरेंस होता है। जावा कॉटलिन दोनों का वही सीन है कि पॉइंटर हमारे पास एक्सप्लिसिटली हम बना ही नहीं सकते। पॉइंटर बनाने के लिए हम क्या कहते हैं, क्लास के रेफरेंसेस होते हैं, वो पॉइंटर होता है एक्चुअली जिसमें एड्रेस स्टोर होता है ऑब्जेक्ट्स का। क्लियर है चेतन? Does IntelliJ create problem on 3GB PC? Yeah, IntelliJ is similar to Android development in this particular case. There will be problems. You will have to use a better CPU. Okay. क्लियर है ये भी चीज़ के, तो ज़्यादा मैं डिटेल में नहीं जाऊँगा, काफ़ी ज़्यादा वो चीज़ें हो गई हैं। हाई ऑर्डर फंक्शंस वगैरह भी चलो इतना नहीं देखते, एक चीज़ और देख लेते हैं या फिर एंड में। एक और चीज़ जो कॉटलिन में मतलब एक होता है, यार रहने देते हैं, इसमें ज़्यादा हो गया सेशन में। ओके, यू कैन वी विल डिस्कस इट इन फ्यूचर सेशन, जो भी एक्स्ट्रा चीज़ें होंगी। ठीक है, बाकी एक बार कोर्स पढ़ो, थोड़ा सा आइडिया तो मैं लग गया होगा लैंग्वेज के बारे में। ठीक है, तो नाउ आई विल हैंड ओवर टू तिनांकुर, वो अब क्या कहते हैं स्टूडियो का हम तुम्हें एक बार डेमो देगा और फर्स्ट ऐप वगैरह बनवाएगा। ठीक है तिनांकुर?
Thank you, Akash, for this.
Okay.
Just to remind you guys, you can just post your questions in the chat box and we'll take all of them in last, like at the Q&A. So just keep posting your questions. Yes, Priyankur, you can continue.
So, hello guys, good evening. I am Shinakur. So, just next slide. So, after this, you have already heard the term Android Studio so many times, and you have already learned that it is a integrated development environment for building Android apps in Kotlin or Java. So now I am going to tell you how to download this, and also I am going to tell what is Android emulator. May some of you already familiar with this term. Let's see. How many of you are familiar with Android emulator or something like that? Please let me know in the chat. No. Yeah. Okay, so I can see some of you are already familiar with this. Don't worry if you are not familiar with this. I am gonna tell you later. Little bit more. Okay, so nice. Next slide, please. And yeah, uh, after that we are going to learn what is user interface of an app. So basically, the summary is that this is a part of your app where the users can interact with the application. Next. Just next slide, please. Just next slide, please. So I guess it is another wish or something. Yeah. And after that, we are going to learn about layouts, basic layout, and then views elements. 60. Okay, so don't waste. Let us not waste your time here anymore. Let's directly dive into the Android Studio downloading process. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yep, it is.
Yeah. So to download Android Studio, just simply Google it in download Android Studio. Then go to the first website, that is developer.android.com. Here you can find the Android Studio version for your OS. Like I have Windows, so definitely I will download for the Windows. And if you are working on Linux or Mac, don't worry. Android Studio have also Mac and Linux version for that. So next. So let us know how to create the first app. So after we have downloaded Android Studio and installed it, let's create our first app. After opening Android Studio, you can see this screen. So here you will be choosing start new project, or even you can open existing Android projects if you have any. So here I will prefer to start a new project and then go to empty activities. So that will basically give you a straightforward, simple app layout that you can edit and change later with your codes and even layouts. Then rename your app, then select your minimum SDK version, and then yeah, finish. So this will take some time to later build, and then after everything is done for your first app, this is how your app gonna look. This is actually nothing, just a simple hello world is written there in the middle of the screen, like you can see. And yeah, this app has this app don't have any extra image, buttons, elements, or anything. But yes, this is still an Android app, and you can even run it on emulators. So I have told about emulators before also. So basically, emulator is a virtual Android device, so where you can test your applications for building purpose. Yeah, we have built our first app. It's just easy. And if you don't have any emulator, don't worry. You can plug in your Android device with a USB code and then run your app on that. So after installing your first app, you may be thinking that is a too boring app, only a happy birthday. So what we'll do now, we'll just change the app to a happy birthday card app. So after everything, this will be the default screen, like I have said before. So what we'll do at first, we'll just simply drag this text view anywhere in the screen where I am comfortable. I can even change the text here. That's called attributes. And by the way, in the attribute panel, you can change almost everything for this text. Like you can change the insert text and change the type of the text, number or text. Then you can change the text size, text scale, even the text font. So for now, I will just simply change it with happy birthday. And then I will change the text size to 30 sp. And see, it's changed. So if you want to add a second text below, you can simply drag from the palettes. The palette is here where you can find buttons, image view, recycle view, everything. This all at the part of views. So I will just simply drag a text like this in the screen. Then change it again. And yeah, this is a simple basic layout for a happy birthday, but this is still too much boring. So now I am going to add some constraints. So the constraints will help the app to move in the right position, even when the device changed or the resolution changes. So that's not enough, right? Yeah. So now we are going to learn how to add image to your app. To do that, we have to simply go to the design option where I was before, like this. This is the design palette. Here you can see code, split, and design. Then you can simply drag and drop an image view. Like this. This is a demo you can see. Then you can choose your image, what you want to add it. Then split OK. And the image is there. You can also change the image size, its position, edit constraints so that it looks better. After that, I will suggest you to add a background of this image. That's not a difficult task. You can do it. And yeah, after everything is done properly, and it will take a little time. So I have done it before. This is how your app gonna look. So let's try on the simulator just once. It will take a moment. And now you can see this is the app that I built before, and this is how it's gonna look on an emulator. This basically do nothing, but this is also a first step you are gonna be built. So congratulations, you have learned it. So thank you everyone. Please let me know if you have any question in chat box. Seems like no one have any question. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to hand over the rest of this session to Akshat Trivedi.
Thank you, Trinankar.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, so let's continue our interesting journey of Android app development with Pathway 4 of our Unit 1. Okay, Srishti, can we change the slide, please? Okay, but before we get into that, let me know what do you think of this question. Which is the best way to learn a new concept? Let me know in the chat box, guys. What do you think is the best way to learn a new concept? By practice, implementing, trying it on your own. Yes. Practicing, self-learning, practicing, okay. Collaborative learning, nice. Okay, great. I think the best way to learn new concept is by implementing it, right? And interesting thing is that it is how exactly our pathways are designed. So in this pathway, we are going to build two interesting Android application. In previous pathway, we saw birthday card app, which didn't really interacted with user. But in this pathway, you will be able to learn to create two interesting application, which will be interacting with your user. First, you will create a dice rolling app, and then there is a lemonade app. Okay, so this one here is fourth pathway. When you complete this pathway, you will earn a badge, which is shown here. Pathway begins with CodeLab explaining classes and objects in Kotlin. If you are familiar with object-oriented programming in Java or C++, you will see how Kotlin is so much easy to learn in this CodeLab. And also Akash showed us in IDE how Kotlin is so much familiar with Java and C++. And even if you are new to object-oriented programming, you won't be having any trouble learning this concept, since you'll learn it by implementing dice rolling app in Kotlin. And then in CodeLab 2, you will use that exec code of Kotlin to build your Android application. CodeLab 3 is about conditional statement that Kotlin offers. You will learn if, else, and when statements in this CodeLab. And cool thing is that you'll be implementing it on your dice rolling Kotlin code. And then in CodeLab 4, you will implement the Kotlin code of CodeLab 3 in your Android app. And then you'll learn how to add graphics to your application so that it looks like some cool dice rolling app. That is the last step of creating dice rolling app, which generates 6 different outcomes each time it is rolled, exactly how a real world dice works, right? Okay, so next slide. So these are some of the stages that dice rolling app will go through. Any of those are not even closer what we could consider a dice rolling app, right? Now, would you like to see it working? Would you like to see how actual dice rolling app would look like? Give me a quick yes if you would like to see that. Yes? Okay. So let me share my screen.
I guess there's a technical issue from Akshat's side. We can wait for a while.
Yeah, I can
Yeah, I guess he's
see
back.
him.
Okay. Is my screen visible, guys? Hello.
Yes, Akshat, it is. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so here is the code of our dice rolling app. So just like main main function, here the onCreate function is called whenever the app is run for the first time, right? And then we have here roll dice, which will roll dice function, which will be called whenever the button is clicked, right? And then here is the dice class, which will give us a random number from 1 to whatever the sides are entered. Here we have entered 6 because we have 6-sided dice, right? So every time our roll button is clicked, the dice will be rolled and we'll have some output, right? So let's run it and see it on emulator. So it will take some time to build your project, and once it is built, it will be installing on our emulator. And our app is launched successfully. Okay, so whenever I click this roll, it will give me some different output. Whenever I click, it is going to give me some different output, right? Just like the real world dice that we use in our board games. You can also use this dice roller whenever you are playing board games with your friends and just flex about it that you have created your own dice on your mobile. Yeah. So that was all for dice rolling app. Hello.
Yes,
Okay.
Akshat. Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, so the next is the Lemonade app. Let me know if you are Lemonade person or milkshake person. Let me know in the chat. Okay, both milkshake, lemonade. Okay, smoothie. So you can create your own Lemonade app or milkshake or smoothie app, whatever you want to do. Let me show you what your Lemonade app can do. So in Pathway 4, the last is this Lemonade project, right? You can create this kind of project on your own. You can create your milkshake project or smoothie project or whatever you like, right? What this Lemonade app will do, you can click on this lemon tree and it will drop you will select a lemon. Then you can click on this lemon, which will squeeze the lemon to glass, and then you can click, and then you will drink the lemonade. And after you drink lemonade, you can click to start again. So this is the app that you could create, which could interact with user, and you learn how a button and how can you add images to your application. And which could be interact with your user, right? So that was all for Pathway 4. Now, I know it's too much to take in one sit, so let's take a break of 5 minutes. Till then, let's watch this interesting video from Google.
Akshat, can you stop sharing your screen, Srishti? The voice is not audible. Just videos. Try playing it again, maybe.
So Zomato
Yeah,
was
it's fine
started
now.
as an app which lets you browse digital menus. Now we are this big food tech company that is operational in 24 countries. More than 150 million users visit the platform every month. We are available in 10 languages. And on the delivery side, we have a fleet of around 60,000 delivery riders. If you want to discover great places to go out, if you want to order in, if you want to reserve tables, and if you just want to browse food, you can use Zomato. So Zomato serves a lot of use cases, and that makes it challenging for the development team to fit in a coherent way inside the app.
After all the buzz in the developer community about Kotlin, I was intrigued by how Kotlin was able to uphold the object-oriented paradigm and solve many of the architectural flaws in the compile time itself. I almost instantly recognized that Kotlin will enable me to develop more architecturally sound applications. Kotlin provides us null safety at compile time itself, and this is one of the most used features by our team. If you convert a Java class to Kotlin, there will be about 15 to 20% decrease in the line of code. But if you take data classes, there is a drastic improvement of about 55% decrease in the lines of code. Switching to Kotlin is efficient and really exciting. At Zomato, now almost every new feature is being developed in Kotlin. We Android developers have not experienced the functional paradigm like the developers of JavaScript. So Kotlin providing a function-oriented style of coding was a very good feature. Often a use case comes when we are using code of third-party libraries, where we want the class to have another function. Kotlin makes this hassle-free by the support of extension functions. Almost all the new SDKs and APIs that Google is releasing right now has Kotlin support. On top of that, the third-party library developers are also adding support of Kotlin, which is increasing our Kotlin experience.
Zomato is rated 4.3 on the Google Play Store, and we've been lucky with the support of the ecosystem that Android provides.
I would recommend switching to Kotlin because of its interoperability with Java. With recent updates, Android Studio has drastically improved Kotlin support. It is almost frictionless.
Welcome back to the session. Hope you all had your coffee or a small meal while watching the cool Android developer story of Zomato and are ready for the next part of the session as well. Hi folks, I am Suyash. Hope you are learning new things from our speakers and started making your app. You can reply in your chat box. YouTube streamers can reply on YouTube stream. Bhageshri has already started making app. Ahmad, all others. Vishnu, right? Have all not started making the app. Android Study Jam has already started. Started, great. And those who have not started yet, please start doing it right now. Yes, if you have any problem or technical problem facing, you can reach out to your facilitator he or she will sort your problem. I am learning syntax of C. Okay. Srishti, can you change the slide, please? Meanwhile, you can share what you have learned on social media using hashtag Android Study Jams. Soon we will starting unit 2 as well. Just waiting that everyone come back.
Did you guys enjoy the session so far?
Uh,
Was it interesting?
and it's not ended yet, so please be there. Okay, it's informative, it's amazing. It was, yes.
We can take few of the doubts if you guys are having any doubts till now. So
Yes.
you can just post that in the comments. Chat, I mean.
How long will session? This for 9 till 9. Will AI affect Android development? No way, both are different. Can you please share the course link? Yes, we will sharing. Yeah, is our guest ready?
हेलो
Yes, Vaishnav.
सर वो आपने जो पहले वो कोर्स बताए थे वो कौन से सॉफ्टवेयर में थे? वो VS कोड में तो नहीं थे, वो कौन से सॉफ्टवेयर था?
वो एक मतलब पूरा पाथवे है, वो आपको कोड लैब्स में सॉल्व कर सकते हो। मीनवाइल आप आपके लैपटॉप में भी इंस्टॉल करके सॉल्व कर सकते हो कोर्स को, एंड्रॉइड कोटलिन। आपको लिंक्स और बाकी डिटेल्स शेयर कर दी जाएंगी। हाँ, कोर्स लिंक भी चैट बॉक्स पे डाल दी। हाँ,
एंड्रॉइड स्टूडियो था वो?
हाँ।
ओके, थैंक यू।
Okay, so is our next case ready? If we can, Christy, can you please change the slide? So yes, I would like to invite Samson. He will be giving us insights about layouts. Is Samson here? Hello, Samson.
Yes, here.
Cool. It's your stage now.
All right, so on to this year of Android Study Jam. So I would like to present on layouts in Android. So first of all, let me turn on my camera. Yes, I hope I'm visible. So that's a student of LPU, yeah. So I'm having some technical issues with my network, so I would like to turn off the camera. I hope it's okay with everyone.
Yeah, totally fine. Totally fine.
All right. Okay, so I'll move on and share my screen, then proceed. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible. Yes, please, can you reply in the chat section? All right, okay, all right. Okay, so I'll move on and present on later. So basically, we started a session. We got to know that is basically made up of views, and a list of views or around. So a view group can also be inside another view group. I hope everyone gets it. Yeah. So in the first unit, we basically asked about views. And only one view group was mentioned, which was the um, constraint layout view group. So in this section, I would like to proceed with the next things we'll talk about. So uh, view uh, view group. One of them is the linear view group, which arranges items like vertically on the screen. View layouts like where elements are arranged according to other elements inside the same view group. So that is the relative layout. And also have we have absolutely we have the list view. There are a whole lot. So basically, I'll just take us through the layout so that we get an idea of how the whole. Let's get started. Hope everyone is fired up. Okay. Yeah. So basically, in the first session, we built some interactive applications able to Ludo application, which predicts climate. Hello, hello. Is the voice okay now?
Hey Samson, sorry to interrupt. I guess your voice is lagging a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. I guess it might be from my network or coming. Give me a moment. Yeah. Hello. Is he okay now?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. Okay. So I'll take it step by step. The voice breaking, then you let me know. Yeah. Basically, it's still
Samson, your voice is breaking again.
built sort of.
Samsung, can you rejoin? That would be more better.
Yeah.
I think you should
Okay,
rejoin.
sure.
Sorry for the interruption, guys. So let's continue with the unit 2. Is my screen visible?
Yes, Pranav, it's visible.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just walk you through the unit 2. Is my screen visible, right, for everyone? Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
my screen is visible.
yeah, visible.
Okay. So in the unit 2, the first module is user input in an app. So basically you will be learning how you can take the user input here. So let's explore the course a little bit. So in the first thing, when you come to the course in the unit 2 layouts, so you will be having a video lecture on layouts. So I guess we have already shared the link to the module in the chat. So you can check out this video to learn more about the layouts thing. And in the tip calculator app introduction, so we will be creating a calculator app. So it's a video already present here. So you can check out the video here and you can create your own calculator app here directly. And then there are a lot of things that you can go through this course. The first is classes and inheritance in Kotlin. So if you are familiar with the concept of inheritance, if you have learned in C++ or any other languages, so you must be familiar about this particular thing, then it will be easy for you as well. And you can also do a code lab here. Directly click on this take code lab and you can try to implement this inheritance logic in Kotlin as well. Then you will be learning a little bit about the XML layouts for Android. So if you are not familiar what is XML, so just to give you the reference, so basically in the let's say in the website world, we have CSS, right? We have CSS, JavaScript, HTML, so kind of that thing. So XML is basically the user interface where you will see or create your app, the basically the user interface using the XML thing. Nowadays, you can also do this directly in Android Studio with GUI tools, but you can also use XML there as well. So we'll be walking through about the XML as well in this particular module. You can do the code lab and learn about what is XML. And then we'll be learning about the calculate the tip app. So yeah, so after walking through all this thing, you will be learning about how to create the calculate the tip app. And then there will be, in the end, there will be a quiz. So we can walk through the quiz and complete the quiz. So it will be assess you like what you have learned till now in this particular module. Now jumping on to the second thing. Second thing is how you can take the input part 2. So what you have learned in part 1 will be continuing with that in the second module, part 2. So yeah, in the part 2, you will be learning how you can change the theme of the app. So you must have seen in some of the apps that there is dark mode or light mode, right? So you can learn how you can do that particular thing, and that is also an input, right? So you click on a button and then it switches from light mode to dark mode. So you will be learning about that, how you can change the icon of an app. So if you have seen a lot of app that you have in your app, let's say YouTube or maybe Gmail, anything, so they have a specific icon, right? So how you can change that particular icon, then how you can create a more polished user experience. So user experience is a very good thing that you must implement in your application, because that is the thing that will engage the users to use your app. Prior for the functionality that you have created, user experience is also required while creating your app. So we'll be learning about the user experience, and just like the unit one, we will have a quiz for that to assist you on what you have learned in this particular module. And then let's come into third module, display a scrollable list. So if you remember in the starting, I gave you example of Instagram Reels and previously TikTok, right? So how you can do that? So basically how you can create a scrollable list, maybe horizontally, maybe vertically. So there is a video lecture present here. You can watch that particular video lecture and you can learn about affirmation, what is affirmations in an app. Then you can learn what is lists in Kotlin, just like we have arrays in C++, right? So this is kind of similar. And then we'll be learning about recycler view. What is recycler view to display a scrollable list? How you can display list of imaging using cards. So all these are code labs. So you can just directly go and implement it yourself. So it will be a much easier path for you to learn this particular thing. And then at the end of this module, we'll be learning about the Dogless app. So you can create your own Dogless app, and if you can see the pattern in each module, you are creating one or two app, right? So by end of the whole course, you will have lots of app and lots of experience on how to create app using native Android development. And by end of the 16th module, I'm pretty sure that you can create your own app from scratch without using any video lectures module or anything. So that was it about the unit 1 and unit 2. So now I would like to pass to Akansha and Tanesh.
Yeah. So, hi there, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this session. Now it's time for some rewards. So, you all must be wondering, even if we complete all the skill badges, how will we show it to someone that we have completed all the skill badges? So, for that, just a second, guys. Yeah. So, for the skill badges, uh, once you complete all the skill badges and submit an application, you will get a certificate from your Android Study Jam facilitator. This certificate will be the proof that you have completed all the skill badges. Now, I would like to call Akansha to share some resources uh, for how to get started in the Android developer journey.
Thank you, Tanish. So I hope the screen and video is visible. So you can keep coming to study jams as we cover more topics to make you a full-fledged Android developer. Srishti, can you move to the next slide? Yeah, so you all can continue learning on your own with the Android Basics and Kotlin course. You can modify the apps we built together and learn by adding more features to them. You can use Google search or look at existing code samples and videos online for how to add additional features to your app. To stay connected, Srishti, can you move to the next slide? Yeah, so Srishti, previous slide, please. Yeah, to stay connected, check out the additional resources which professional developers use to stay up to date on Android. As you get into more advanced features, you will likely need to learn more programming concepts. You can check out the Learn Kotlin by Example resource for that. Srishti, can you move to the next slide, please? Yeah, so these are some more resources that can help you throughout your journey of becoming an Android developer. Here are some of the online curriculum courses, some Kotlin language courses, and some Android courses that you can check out. And don't worry, all the respective facilitators will share all these resources with you after the session. Moreover, we want to let you know that we are planning to conduct yet another amazing session related to Android study jams on 11th of December. More details on that we will share soon. So stay tuned and good luck on the beginning of your Android developer journey.
And thank you so much, everyone, for being such a wonderful audience that participated enthusiastically throughout the session and kept the entire duration interactive. I hope this session was valuable and will encourage you to start exploring Android study jams. Kindly feel free to share your experiences through the feedback form shared in the chat box. Our team will share the feedback form soon. Thank you once again.
Can we have some questions? If you have any, then we are happy to answer them. Let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will share the resources with you after the session, so don't worry. Yeah, we can see the video, and till then, if you have any doubts, then please let us know. Thank you, everyone.
Invariably, you will land on a project where you don't know much about what's involved. It's completely okay to say, you know, I have not the slightest idea to solve this problem. This is very normal, and it is normal for every single person.
I remember still just starting full-time work and realizing, wow, I'm not sure I know how to work with big code bases, or I don't know this language and it's frightening and there's a lot you don't know. Find a little nugget you can take on and take it from there.
There's a lot of times when you run into areas where you don't know what to do and you feel like you can't make it all come together. And the most important thing is to not get caught up in that. Sometimes the best thing you can do is actually just take a little time off of a problem and then circle back a little bit later when you have a fresher mind, and then it'll be easy.
Imposter syndrome is the feeling that you're a fake and somehow you snuck in and you don't deserve to be where you are. There are so many times at work where I get projects to work on, and internally I feel like there's no way I can do this. I'm totally going to fail at it. The only person expecting me to fail is myself. And so if I can get over that, I can gain more confidence and do anything that I want to do.
You have just asked me to code up something or to fix a bug. I don't even know where to begin. The best people I know learn to live with uncertainty, fear, doubt, confusion, and they just plow right ahead.
Failure it's going to happen if you take risks. And taking risks is important to succeed. I have a few tips on how to cope with that. Number one is try to see the silver lining of failure. Number two is I think preparing is really important. It will help you a lot in taking on risks that are more manageable and being able to succeed more often.
I think it's absolutely vital that when you go into building something, you accept that sometimes you're going to be wrong. If I had an opportunity to sort of go back in time and tell a younger version of myself, like just as I was getting started, what should I do? I think my main thing would be to experiment more and just always try and be learning new things.
You don't have to have all of the knowledge right now, but just realize that you can always learn it. And the whole coding process is a learning process.
So if you're in a class and it's been a while and you made progress, first of all, be proud of that progress. And you find yourself now feeling a little stuck, it's okay. Being overwhelmed is not a bad thing. That's my first advice. It means there's a lot of information coming your way and you're so lucky that that is the case.
Thank you, Srishti. So if you have any questions, then please let us know in the chat and we will be happy to answer them.
Yash, what is the name of your GDSC?
Bajaj
Maybe
Institute
you.
of Technology.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Bajaj Institute of Technology, BIT Varda.
Okay, so
You can contact
yeah.
Suyash for that.
Yeah, Yash Chaudhary is your facilitator. Suyash mentioned in the chat box.
Yes, Roshan, GDSCs conduct sessions on open source contribution as well.
You can maybe reach out to your GDSC leads. They'll obviously tell you about your facilitators, or maybe you can just join any of the GDSCs. Every GDSC has a facilitator, and anyone will be happy to share, like solve your doubts or share anything with you guys. So there's not an issue with that.
Parth, you can contact us later on Discord or either Instagram if you are connected to us. Parth, just connect us with GDSC BVM on Instagram.
If you folks don't have any GDSC at your campus, you can contact the respective GDSC of your nearby campuses, and they will be happy to help you there.
Okay, so if there are no more doubts, then we can end the session.
Yeah, and you can check all the GDSCs. I have given the link in the chat box, so you can just check all the GDSCs here and reach out to your facilitators.
We hope you guys like the session, and we are hoping to see you again in the next session.
Thank you everyone for joining. Sneha, you can go to the link that Neha has shared, and you can see yourself what is GDSC all about.
Sneha, can I ask you something? From where did you know about this session?
The session is over, so if you don't have any doubts, you can just leave. Or if you have any doubts, so just drop them in the chat box, or maybe you can unmute yourself and ask.
And we will share all the resources after the session. You can check on the YouTube also. We will drop in the description. Or you can contact your respective facilitators. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, you guys can leave. We are just waiting if anyone else have any doubts. So